You want a chilada?
Or as much as I do want those, I'm supposed to be keto.
No, that's fair. Well,
So these brought these
oh, that's fair.
that are lower in carbs than beer.
Cabs, yeah. I get it. It's alright. It's fine.
That does look fucking super tasty though.
No, it's dog shit. You won't like it.
Looks gross.
It's horrendous. But I'm gonna drink it all down. Well then. What's up, fucker?
How the hell are you?
Ooh, that was dope. You did like
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that Henry Cavill arm pop thing.
Yeah.
That was tight.
Loading them up
Fuck yeah.
and then firing.
That's sweet. I liked it. I'm here for it. You want to talk about dreams?
Yeah. Dreams are, I mean, we all have them. Something we all have in common.
So, one thing I learned is not everybody has dreams.
Well,
To a degree.
yeah, I think that most people have them. There is a large number of people that can't remember them, but as far as what I researched, dreams are kind of necessary for keeping your mental health
Acute.
even.
Yeah, those people who say they don't have dreams, we call those people fucking losers, bud.
Yeah, yeah. Now, so talking about dreams, there's all kinds of different dreams that we have. Like some are good dreams, some are bad dreams, some are sexual dreams, some are scary dreams, some are wet dreams,
Lucid dreams.
lucid dreams,
Which are the best.
which are, you know, you've been working on that, right? Weren't you trying to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, I don't put as much effort into it as I should. I just kind of let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way just kind of like realize I'm lucid dreaming and then just try not to wake up. Like, oh shit, I can do whatever I want now.
Okay, don't wake up, don't wake
Don't
up.
wake up, don't wake up. Hold on, I gotta fly really quick. And you're just like,
So there was a certain technique that you used. We've talked about it before. You would, it was reading, right?
yeah. So that was kind of my totem to realize that, well, it used to be. It used to be that I couldn't read in a dream. And now I can.
Mm.
So it's almost like my mind has to see physics break before I can realize that I'm dreaming, or something that just completely makes zero sense. Because I literally did it just a couple nights ago. I was in a dream and I picked up a book and I could read the book.
Really?
The fragmentation of what I was reading was not there. It was just random words, but I could read what they were.
Yeah.
And I even had a dream just recently where I was trying to decipher a code, and it was all these different numbers on this weird like metal thing, but the way they were staggered, I was having trouble reading it. Like I could see the numbers, but I couldn't place it because like my vision is not great while I'm dreaming. It's almost like beer goggles, where everything's just a little hazy. So
Yeah.
I'm like the 0, 1, 4. But yeah. And then I went, fuck this, I'm out of here. And then I just woke up.
Yeah. As far as I can remember in dreams, if I try to read something, I just keep losing my spot. Like, and that's what it seems, and maybe that's what it is, just the words. I can read the words, but they're all jumbled up.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm losing my spot continually, like what I'm trying to read.
Yeah. Or you're just kind of reading it and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, yeah. What does this fucking mean? I don't... Am I retarded?
Did a toddler write this?
So yeah, there's several different totems you can use to kind of train yourself how to lucid dream.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she's been trying to do it, and the thing that she does is she like looks at her phone and looks at like the clock and sees what time it is. Like she does it constantly throughout the day, just to look, so that when she's in a dream, she'll try to look at a clock, and then she looks at a clock and sees she can't read the face of the clock. Then she knows that she's dreaming and she can wake up from it. So that's another way. I was watching this podcast with Dr. Huberman, who's a neuroscientist. Yeah,
I love that guy.
And,
Brilliant.
Yeah. So he was talking to this guy that is an actual, like a sleep doctor and studies dreams. And he was saying that another way to do it is like several times throughout the day, just go to a light switch and turn on the lights, turn off the lights, and just like be conscious of the lights are coming on and the lights are going off. Lights are coming on, lights are going off. So that when you're in a dream, you'll kind of be in that mindset to go to the light switch and turn it on or off. And if nothing happens when you turn it on or off, then you know that you're in a dream.
Yeah.
So
one that I've heard of, I don't think I've ever actually experienced, is you can't see your own reflection in a mirror. But I can't recall a single time I've ever come across a mirror to look at myself in a dream.
the only time that I can remember looking at my reflection was we've talked about this in the demonic possession episode, I think, I was like sitting on the floor in the kitchen, and I turned and I could see my reflection in the big double glass sliding door, and all of a sudden my whole body just contorted into
your butthole.
Yeah, my butthole contorted into a fucking from a starfish shape into an octopus.
Dope. I think you got worms, bud.
Yeah, and I was just scooting across the floor trying to ease the itch. I saw my whole body contort, and then I was like, felt like I was being like possessed by something.
That would be terrifying.
It was.
And somehow dope at the same time.
I don't remember it being dope.
In hindsight, it's probably way cooler than it seems at the time.
But that also like brings into a thing of like reoccurring dreams, or like how you remember those dreams that are like super terrifying like that a lot more than you do your normal everyday dream or whatever. Like most of the time, within 5 minutes of waking up, you've forgotten pretty much what you were dreaming. Even last night, I woke up. It was like 2:30 because I woke up and I was like having a nightmare, but I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was now. Like I remember thinking about it when I woke up, because I wear a dark mask thing all over my eyes, and so I like pulled it up and was looking around the room to make sure that there was no like boogeyman inside the room. And then grabbed my phone to look at my phone to see what time it was. It was like 2:38 or something. But even like laying back down, I was trying to think about what that dream was, and it was gone already.
See, I've gotten really good at remembering them. And I don't know if it's just because like when I wake up I focus on it and I think about it and I try to like encapsulate moments. Granted, my mind's going to make up the rest as I go along, but
Right.
having specific moments in your dream that you remember helps you prolong it. But it's like even at this point right now, I can still remember a good chunk of my last dream. And here are, 3 or 4 hours later, but I know by the end of the day, it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still fresh enough that I could jot it down, even though it was unimportant. But yeah, by the end of the day, I'll totally forget it.
Yeah. And that sleep doctor talks about that too. He says if you want to try to remember your dreams, as soon as you wake up, don't sit up and try to write it down. Lay there for a minute, close your eyes, and go back through like
that's exactly what I do.
What the feelings were, what the emotions were. And then as you kind of like build this picture up of what your dream was, then you can sit up and then write it down if you're trying to journal your dreams, or which throughout history has been a huge thing that people used dreams and kind of believed in the notion that dreams were prophetic, or dreams were a huge part of it's pretty much your subconscious going wild while you sleep. So like even back in the ancient Egyptian times, they had people whose profession it was to interpret dreams, and so they would have books of...
Have you ever heard Dane Cook has a bit about it? He's like, we all have that one friend who tries to over-interpret dreams, and they have books and shit. And so he's like, so I told my friend one day, I had this dream, and I was being chased by a giant lobster. He's like, hold on. Gets the book out, starts flipping pages. Oh, red lobster, oh, giant lobster. Okay, says here you're gay.
Yeah. Turns out we're all gay, dude.
If you've ever been chased by a lobster in your dream, you're gay, I guess. The book said so. It's in print. Print doesn't lie.
Or if you have a dream about getting stabbed, that means you're gay too.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
They're just all gay.
Yeah.
They all make you gay.
According to Sigmund Freud, everybody's gay.
Yeah, there was something with him where I only listened to like a snippet of it, but he essentially talked about how it breaks down within your dreams, kind of. You have to be exposed to some of the weirder shit to understand your dreams, of like dreams where you're attracted to your parents, or dreams where you commit a crime that you would never commit, and things like that. I didn't get too deep into it. I still need to, but I was really interested in that. But there were so many other things that I would thought were more important.
Yeah.
But the prophecy of dreams is just amazing.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at how many people have had dreams about things that have not come to pass, and then they happen. Mm-hmm. Like allegedly there was 12 people on the Titanic that had a dream about the ship going down before it went down, or Abraham Lincoln dreaming about his own death, stuff like that. And you're like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And there's lots of stories like that, of people dreaming about stuff that happens, especially like tragedies and stuff like that. Like Abraham Lincoln had a dream 2 nights before he was assassinated, that he walked into the White House and there was like all these people there, and it was a funeral service, and he walked up, there was a casket in the middle, and there was a guard standing next to it, and he asked the guard who died, and he said the president died. And then 2 days later, he was shot and killed.
He's probably standing there in his dream. What a fucking loser.
Yeah. God, that president sucks.
He's probably getting chased by a lobster in his
why didn't
dream.
you just do this?
Yeah.
But yeah, also there was another, like Lynyrd Skynyrd, one of the backing vocalists for Lynyrd Skynyrd, had a dream that they were all in a plane crash. And so she called the band and said that, we shouldn't fly on this airplane anymore. And apparently they took a vote, and they all said that this is going to be the last time they fly on this airplane.
Just once more.
Yeah, just one more flight on this plane.
Joke's on them.
So she was like, yeah, fuck that, I'm not going. I'm not going to fly on this plane anymore. And the plane crashed and they all died.
It was their last time flying on it.
Was their last time.
I mean, sad day.
Sad day.
I bet old fucking Neil what's-his-face was probably elated. Neil Young.
Oh, yeah.
After their, decade-long beef or whatever it was. He's probably like, get fucked, nerds.
For some reason, when you said Neil Young, I was thinking, come on, yeah! But that's Neil Diamond.
that is Neil Diamond. Yeah. That also reminds me of when we did the near-death experience episode. The one lady was dreaming about her mom dying.
Yeah.
And then she woke up, called to check on her mom, found out she had just passed away.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing, and there's so many questions that go along with it. And I know we talk about like consciousness a lot, so I know that has to play a factor into it, but the idea of like quantum entanglement playing a factor to it, or time not actually being linear, so that you're able to have these prophetic dreams. It's just mind-boggling to me, and I can't wrap my little tiny brain around it.
Yeah, I was watching this other thing that was talking about how your subconscious can actually connect to the singular subconscious of your multidimensional selves. And so it's like, you know, believing that there is this multi-dimension and there's a, you know, infinite number of yous in these other dimensions. So when you're asleep, you can kind of connect to the consciousness of all these other versions of yourself. And so like when you're having these dreams that you don't understand what's going on, you might be seeing the experiences or like going through the subconscious of these other versions of yourself. So that's why things like feel super familiar, but are also just off because you haven't actually lived them, but you know the experience.
Well, and to me that would imply that you're having a dream of what's happening to an alternate version of yourself in that moment.
Right.
So like the lady who dreamed about her mom dying, another version of herself was actively knowing that the mom died, but she could see it. Or like all the people who predicted 9/11, like they saw it happen, but it hasn't happened for those people yet.
Yeah.
But they saw it actively happen in another universe or whatever, another reality.
Now, there was also another lady in the near-death experiences that after her NDE, she would just have these dreams all the time, and so she would dream about all these crazy things that would happen, and so she would write them down and then kind of like scour for the next couple months through like news reports, and then she would find out that like, this flight 197 or whatever it was went down. That's exactly what I dreamed of. There was 67 people on the plane or whatever.
Because I remember she'd write them down and then email it to herself. Yeah. So everything had a timestamp to it. So she didn't seem just like...
That was like Baba Vanga.
I was literally about to say it was a Baba Vanga, only with receipts.
Yeah, I got the receipts with dates.
I got it on lock. It's crazy, really, when you think about it. Because what if you had a dream about like a terrorist attack and then it happened the next day? You would almost feel kind of guilty in a way. Like, you know, there's nothing you could have done, but you still feel like there's something you could have done. Yeah.
So watching that sleep doctor talk about it, he says, you know, your dreams are happening mainly in the REM state of sleep. So there's different stages of sleep. When you first go to sleep, you go into after that few hours, you go into a deep sleep where your mind is still kind of firing, but once you get into that rapid eye movement stage of sleep, your mind just lights up. And it's right above the brainstem, cerebral cortex, I think it is. In your brain starts firing synapses up to the different parts of your brain, right hemisphere and left hemisphere, that control different things like movement and visual, like your visual receptors, imagination, but keeps like all the rational parts of your brains stay dark, so that these synapses are firing through the visual part, and so you're seeing these visions and not being understanding because you're like the part of your brain that like puts things in order and makes things make sense for you is not operating at the time.
Your logic and reason center.
Yeah, and so it's like you're seeing all these things happening, but you can't make any sense of it because it's just like these things and the way that the synapses are firing that's making your eyes move back and forth like from right to left. But that's the science as we know it today of what the dreams are, and as it fires it goes through like memories. And so like he says that all the faces and people that you see in dreams, your brain can't just make up a random face.
It's all people you've seen in passing.
You've seen actually in TV or like around, walking around or whatever. You just, your mind is just, making these faces of people that you've seen.
Yeah, one thing I found out that was really cool on the science part of it was that whichever hemisphere of your brain is going to be dominant during REM sleep is kind of determined by which dominant hand you have. So if you're right-handed, it's going to be your right, and if you're left-handed, it's your left. And so I was writing some of this down. So left-handed versus right-handed causing different hemispheres controlling dreams. People who are ambidextrous have synesthesia, so brain symmetry. So it's actually using both hemispheres of your brain to dream. And I thought that was so interesting because I'm ambidextrous. And I'm not like I'm legitimately, I can do everything with both hands, but I'm right hand dominant. And so, like, my boys, they're both right hand dominant. And I know they would have, bad dreams when they were younger, but it's kind of subsided now. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, is left-handed, which is kind of weird, but she sleeps like a drunk octopus. She's all over the place, and she's, acting out her dreams and things like that. So I thought that was a super interesting factor of which side of your brain is going to actually be in development while you're dreaming. And just watching the difference between the two boys and her and how they're different while they sleep and while they dream was just like reading about that made it make so much more sense, because she's probably using a more creative side of her brain, but they're probably using a little bit more like logic in a way.
That's interesting. So I was watching that video that I sent you, was talking about
that was a really cool video.
Studies that they were doing to try to enhance people's subconscious ESP, or extrasensorial perception, kind of being able to use these things as like precognitive dreams or like visionary dreams. And so what they would do is they would play a tone, actually two tones at the same time as somebody was sleeping, two different tones that would sync the brain, both hemispheres of the brain, to be acting on the same frequency. And it was called hemi-lock or something like that. So it would lock the brain, the two parts of the brain, into one frequency, so it's vibrating at the same frequency as the frequency of the earth at the time. And so that at that point the dreamer could go pretty much anywhere instantaneously on earth because you're vibrating at the same frequency.
Interesting.
Super interesting. So they were trying to use it for like remote viewing, and pretty much Stranger Things type shit,
Dude, maybe
going into the upside down.
Maybe that's going to be my superpower, remote viewing. Since I'm ambidextrous and my brain's using both hemispheres while I dream.
Maybe it is.
Maybe I could do some cool shit. You're going to be stuck with, fortune telling, but sorry about it.
I'll carry the Kleenexes for you bloody noses. Here you go, sir.
Ah, shit. Dab, dab. You know what's funny? While I was watching a video about that, they listed off a lot of people throughout history that were ambidextrous. You know who my favorite one was?
Who?
Leonardo da Vinci. Isn't that interesting?
Reincarnation.
I am Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Hail me.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's got to be something to do with being in that sleep state and being in that unbound world of some subconscious that there's so many people that use sleep and dreams as a creative muse almost. Like lots of artists, musicians, even like some of the brightest minds like Einstein and Edison and what's his name, Tesla, would use sleep as a catalyst to help their ideas. And so they would like, most of them would talk about like using something as like balancing on the, like leaning back in their chair, just balance so that when they fall asleep they fall, or they'd have to like wake up to catch themselves, or like holding on to something as they fall asleep so it would drop. And in that instant of them falling asleep and then waking back up, they would all of a sudden just spark an idea of genius. But yeah, there's, you know, James Cameron talks about how his whole
with the Terminator
was a dream that he dreamt about a cyborg walking through some burning building, and he had just like all these knives for hands. Mary Shelley, the Frankenstein book, was written from a dream that she had. So I mean, there's something about it that,
even by extension, Wes Craven, you know, because he was reading an article about all of these people allegedly dying from sleep paralysis, and it gave him the idea to create Freddy. So even though that's not like a direct link, it's still pretty close. I mean, have you ever had a dream of something and then you wake up and you go, fuck, that'd make a really cool story, and write it down?
No.
Yeah.
I should.
I've had a couple that I've been like, ooh, that's awesome. I gotta fucking jot that shit down.
Yeah, last night I had that bad dream. I can't remember what it was. And then like woke up, was awake went and used the bathroom, came back, laid back down, went back to sleep probably like 3:15, 3:30 maybe in the morning. And had another dream, and I woke up, and it was a pretty vivid dream. And I did the thing where I laid there and tried to remember it, and I felt like I had like a pretty good synopsis of what the dream was about. And as I was driving over here, I was trying to remember what the dream was, and the only thing that I could come up with was cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
That's not that interesting. You could write a story about it, but
you could write a shitty, like so bad it's good movie on that, The Killer Cauliflower.
I don't think that's been done yet.
It's copyrighted.
Yeah. Hollywood, don't try to fucking steal that idea.
So I know the dream I was having last night, and this is where I kind of get the left brain versus right brain thing going on. Because I was dreaming that... Have you seen Yellowstone?
No. I've only seen like the first half of the first episode.
Okay, so spoiler alert. The show's over. But in like the mid-season of... the mid-season break of season 5... Kevin Costner's character is murdered, and then it sets his like family and children on kind of a revenge tour thing. And so I was dreaming that I was actually one of the siblings, and so Casey, who's like the main star, I was with him, and we go into this place, and he turns to me and he's like, hey, I know there's 2 episodes left, but you're gonna meet your fate. And I'm like, I'm confused. Am I in this as reality, or am I passively watching it? Like, it was almost so self-aware that I know it's a show, but I know I'm a character in the show at the same time. Super weird. And I was just like, you know what? That's cool. I made it all the way to season 5.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, you need to write down your journey through season 5.
Yeah, it was pretty short-lived.
As a what do they call that? Like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Character so it's almost like an Office parody inside of Yellowstone.
Yeah. Well,
where you turn to camera and say something to the camera as you're.
Well, it got super weird too.
Like, whoa, those were nice tits.
Like, whoa, did you see Beth's titties? Well, and it got super weird after that, because we walk into like this store, and this guy immediately points a gun at me, and then like you turn around, everybody else who's with me is gone, and this dude morphs into like a big fucking spider and starts attacking me. I'm like, there's no giant spiders in Yellowstone. What is happening?
Not yet.
I guess I'm gonna fuck up this spider.
Stranger Things In Yellowstone.
Stranger Things in Yellowstone. Never been done before.
Never been done. Crossover.
Yeah, Paramount. Give me a call.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just the battle of logic versus the creativity part. And I've run into it so many times. And I think that's where kind of like the lucid dream comes into play, where once those two things kind of coalesce, I realize I'm in a dream and I'm in control. Now I can do whatever I want. And that usually doesn't last very long. Because I think sometimes your mind just isn't ready to compute everything that you can create.
So one thing that sleep doctor talked about also is like people who actively try to lucid dream, usually when they wake up from a lucid dream, feel more unrested than an actual dream. And the belief is that because once you start lucid dreaming, you activate those parts of your mind that are kind of shut off, your logic, and once you become aware and you start dictating what things are happening, and things start to go more in a controllable manner, that's your mind kind of waking up. And so you're not in as deep REM sleep, so you don't get the full benefit of sleep. Your mind is still active, so when you wake up you feel like we're using your brain all night long.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, his suggestion is if you want to do it, do it. If you become tired, don't try to do it every night, because it might make you
it's
feel
too
tired.
much.
Yeah.
Well, you're also kind of on a chemical come down, because when you're sleeping, I gotta really read this, your body is secreting gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA, and glycerin to paralyze your body. So you're going to be more tired because you're going to have to produce more to keep your body from acting out its dreams. And when you're in a more lucid dream state, you're more active in your mind. And so your body's going to try to compensate, so it has to give you more of that paralytic agent.
Yeah.
And it's debatable from scientists if your mind actually secretes DMT while you're sleeping, and that's part of what gives you these crazy dreams. Some scientists say yes, some say no. Like, I could go either way, but I do think there's something in your mind chemically that allows you to do those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's not just raw subconscious doing it. I don't think that can be the case, but yeah, chemical come down when you wake up, because you got to get all that paralytic agent out.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think that it's all subconscious, just because the things that you dream about, a lot of times the stuff that I dream about has nothing to do with anything that I've ever done before. So it's just totally random shit that I don't think about, or even like watching movies, it's nothing that I recognize from movies, or stuff like that. So I would say that it's got to be coming from something else. There's something that we don't understand that's attached to it that deserves to be looked at, outside of the it's just your mind firing synapses through these weird parts of your brain.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like Sigmund Freud and Carl Junger, that kind of studied psychology and dreams, and say that everything is a representation of something that you're dealing with mentally. So everything that you see in your dreams is just a mental projection, type of an archetype image of certain emotions or feelings that you aren't processing or that you need to deal with. And it's your mind just making an image of something, which is why they have like dream dictionaries that like say that certain things represent certain aspects.
I do believe that to a large degree, but I think it's too vast to be able to put like real nomenclature to it.
Yeah.
Like it's too complicated of a system to just be like, oh, you got chased by a lobster in a dream, you're gay. I think there's there's a lot of metaphorical basis to it, but there's so much that you can't just like dictate what one thing is to one person versus another.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all going to be different. And they're actually studying this in Japan, where they're trying to develop a way to read people's dreams as they're dreaming. And they've actually done this to a certain extent. And so they get these test subjects, and then they hook them up to a monitor, and then they show them images of, like, say, a woman. They just randomly scroll through, like, images of women, and then they get the readouts of what that brain scan looks like when they're looking at a female or when they're looking at a male. And the patterns will be a certain way, or they're looking at a car, or they're looking at buildings, or like a river or lake. And they build a database for a certain person based on what their brain scan looks like when they're looking at these images. So when they go to sleep and they're having a dream, they're hooked up to the electrodes. They can see a map of what their brain is doing and say, okay, this matches, they're looking at a woman, this matches, they're looking at a car. So when they wake up, they can say, yeah, looks like to us that you were dreaming of a woman that was driving a car next to a lake or whatever. And yeah, that's what I was dreaming of.
Interesting.
So it does depend person to person, because everybody's brain is going to react differently to...
But creating that catalog gives you a baseline.
Yeah, right.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Shit. I actually wrote down that Carl Jung quote about dreams. Said, the dream is a spontaneous self-portrait and symbolic form of the actual situation in the unconscious. The dream is specifically the utterance of the unconscious. So when you talk about dreaming about things that you're subconsciously dealing with or is buried in your subconscious, it kind of makes sense, because you could have something that you've been stressed about, and then suddenly you're no longer stressed about it for some amount of time, and then it comes back up in your dream. It just kind of shows you, like, hey, you're not done dealing with this yet.
Yeah.
Or processing it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a more spiritual question, because I learned this on TikTok from people on TikTok who are probably very full of shit, but it always, you got to question everything. If you dream about somebody, do you think they are simultaneously dreaming about you?
I don't know. There is a thing, I think that Carl Jung actually talks about it, where he is having a dream where he goes up to the top of this mountain, and he sees like a ruin of a temple, and he goes into the temple, and inside the temple there's a pond, and he sees a person sitting there meditating, and he goes up to the person, and as the person opens their eyes and looks at him, he has a realization that he's not dreaming about them, it's actually that person that's dreaming about him, and as soon as that person wakes up, he'll no longer exist.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. So I mean...
Imagine like the existential dread you're going to feel in that moment, like, don't wake up, I'll die.
Just close your eyes,
Stay there. You're all throwing melatonin in his mouth and shit.
I mean, if we're going along the lines of the multiverse thought, or whereas your subconscious is connected to all the singularity of subconsciousnesses of yourself in these other dimensions, or throughout the multiverse. If you have that type of connection with somebody in life, could you be connected to their subconscious also and connecting with their? So is it that person specifically, or is it another version of that person?
Yeah, see, I wonder that myself. Are you connecting on a wavelength? Let's say you're having a dream where you're having an interaction with a person. Are you connecting with another version of you who is actively having an interaction with another version of that same person? Or is it that you're so energetically linked with another person that you are simultaneously dreaming of each other, almost like you're connecting within consciousness instead of an actual dream,
Yeah.
where you're seeing almost just like a live view of or consciousness.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, that's why the theorizing is more fun than the facts.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the facts say that you're just fucking dreaming and it's all just bullshit, but is it?
You know, I think there are very few things that I treat with absolute certainty, you know, of the things we talked about, you know, with consciousness or aliens or ghosts or whatever. There is a lot of stuff that I kind of like, could be this, could be that. But when anybody says that dreams don't mean anything, I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, with as complicated as the process is of creating our bodies and everything that we do and how everything works within ourselves, but we get this one weird factor that everybody has that makes zero sense, but is also a requirement of our body. Like, you can't tell me it means nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what your duodenum does? I have no idea.
I don't even know what that is.
It's something inside,
Yeah.
but it has a purpose.
Sounds like a body part.
It is. And I only remember that name from Family Guy,
Yeah.
where they were like microscopic inside Peter's body, and they're like, hit the duodenum. And then Peter's like, oh, my duodenum.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember, like, obscure body parts is the weenus, because it has a funny name.
The weenus.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that has a purpose too. It has to be elastic because of your elbow movement.
Yeah.
You mean that means nothing? Okay. But yeah, I think it all means something. I mean, yeah, you have things within your body you could live without, but they were there for a purpose to begin with.
Yeah. So what do you think about reoccurring dreams? It seems like those might have more of a subconscious emotional dealings type meaning.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a through line with it. Like, there is something within your subconscious that you're actively processing or dealing with, and your dreams are like, hey, don't forget about this.
Yeah.
Or maybe showing you a different angle or something to help you process it and deal with it.
Yeah. Do you have any reoccurring dreams?
I know I have, but I actually can't recall them. The one set of reoccurring dreams that I do remember, and I've talked about this before, was the World War II dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can actually genuinely recall, and even that was only like 2 or 3 at the most.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, that was like 22 years ago now, so it's even that starting to kind of fade with time. I remember the last moment, running up to one of those weird bunkers on the beach, you know, that look like jacks.
Yeah.
Running up to it and then feeling a sudden thud, and then dunzo.
Everything fades out, and then it says "you died" on the title screen.
and then you hear some German go, "Get fucked, nerd!
Get the fucks, Ned!" Yeah, I've had. I don't know if I could call it a reoccurring dream, but it's a reoccurring theme of the dream. So I have 2 different ones that are like, and it's more so a place that I dream of. And it's like, one of them is a mountain, and whenever we go to this mountain, we're always hunting. And so, like, we're hunting for something, whether it's deer or whatever it is, and but the mountain is always like covered in bears, like these huge bears that we're terrified of. And so it's like we're trying to pick through this mountain, and so like whenever I'm there, I can see these different roads that are going up to different parts of the mountain. And so I'll recognize the mountain and say, oh, okay, we're here. I know what's up here. I know what's over here. Let's go over on this side, this section. So to me, it seems like, you know, the mountain has to represent something that I'm exploring the boundaries.
But you've
of
never
this
been
thought.
to this mountain.
No. I mean, it doesn't seem like a real place just because everything is so weird on the mountain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense how everything it's kind of like an MC Escher type mountain where everything is just back and forth and, you know,
Just
a maze
wonky.
type wonky place. But around like every corner I'll find a little cabin and go inside, and then all of a sudden there's this huge bear outside like sniffing at the door, trying to get in or whatever. And like I've looked at, you know, different like dream dictionaries just to try to figure out what it is and how I can try to move past this certain spot in this dream, or find what I'm looking for inside the dream. I don't know what it is, but it's like I don't know what the mountain represents, but like bears are supposed to represent your parents or your emotions about being a parent.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so like I dream about bears all the time. I don't know why.
Well, and you have a history with bear hunting too.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of metaphorical through line. Like maybe it's just your spirit animal.
Maybe it is.
Roar.
I'm a bear in my dreams.
Scott's over there just dreaming about being a cub.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you about one, and I don't really talk about this one because it's so weird to me. But this has been like a year and a half ago, and I could still remember this one very vividly. I'm standing in this like dining room area, and it's a place I've never been, and because I recall in the dream like looking around like, where is this place? Like it's like a normal looking house, you know, and so I'm standing like in the dining room, and then there's kind of an island, and then the kitchen's on the other side, and I'm having an argument with my ex. And by the way, I'm totally winning. But I'm just, like, she's talking, and I'm just like taking in the details of this room that I'm in. And I thought, this is weird. Like something's not right. But then it was almost like a Star Wars screen wipe where it's just like black and then another scenery. And I'm standing in this bedroom, and I can look over to my left, and I can see a bed there, and she's in the bed. But I can look this way, and I look down a hallway, and I'm still very confused of where I'm at. Oh my God, that last one's got that burp, you know, trapped right in there. But what I found really weird is, and this sounds so silly, so I dropped my daughter off at her new house one day, and she invited me in, and I went in, and they were like hanging out in the kitchen/dining room area. It's the same room.
Really?
And then fast forward a couple months later, so she kept the dogs, but one of the dogs needed surgery because she had cancer. And so she had sent me a video of her, like she had made a full recovery and she lost weight. She was like happy and bouncing. And this video is taken in that same room, in that same hallway from my dream.
Wow.
And at first I wasn't even looking at the dog. I was like, this is fucking bananas, right? Only one I've ever had like that.
And you've never seen the room before?
I'd never been there.
See, that's to me, that's like precog type, you know, you're connecting with that, you know, that other thing that has seen those images before.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of feel like, you know, when I ask if you're in dreams with other people, is it an energetic link? Not to say it was like, oh, we're linking up. It was more like maybe I was just tapped into that energy somehow or another. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a person that you were in a pretty intimate relationship for a number of years. So I think that you're always going to have a connection.
For sure.
You know, both like in this kind of consciousness that that we operate in day to day and in a deeper level.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Philo Mouskowitz, she was looking up at the moon at the same time, dreaming of having similar dreams. But it's like, I definitely think there's even with it could be even with the dogs themselves. I mean,
yeah, and that's what I thought too. I mean, my daughter lives there, my dogs are there, and her kids are there. People that I've been energetically linked with for a very long time. So it's like, could have been any one of those factors, not specifically that person, or it could have just been that place, where, like I said, my daughter lives there, and maybe I'm more energetically connected to her, so being able to see the inside, the layout of the house, maybe came more from her than anything.
Do you remember in the dream if you were up higher or lower?
No, I was just at normal height.
Interesting. Yeah, so that sleep doctor talks about
So the other weird part of that was I could see myself in the third person, which I hardly ever do. Normally when I dream, I see through my own eyes, but I could see myself from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Yeah, that sleep doctor talks about how most mammals do go through our REM sleep, and there's some animals do it, like mammals do it. Most mammals have some kind of REM sleep, so it's believed that they do have dreams that are probably a little bit similar to ours.
Yeah.
So you see like dogs like twitching on the floor and like whimpering or whatever, they're probably dreaming.
Doing the leg thing?
Yeah. But there are some animals like fish and reptiles that don't have REM sleep. And so since dreams are active in that REM sleep, they probably don't dream, is what they think.
Yeah.
What scientists think. So it's believed by scientists that study this that REM sleep and dreams is something that has evolved with us for a certain purpose. And what that purpose is, they don't know. But yeah, I mean, it could be that you're linking subconsciously with your daughter or one of the dogs that you raised.
100%.
Raised.
Yeah. Well, and I try not to like read into it in kind of a like philosophical meaning in that way. I kind of think about it as like, how was I able to get such an accurate picture of the house itself? Like, that's the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
Of a place I've never been to, never would have been to otherwise. Like,
well, you're ambidextrous.
Oh, I was using. Maybe it's because I was astral projecting.
Yeah.
I was remote viewing.
Maybe that's kind of what I was getting at. Was like, you're you've been lucid dreaming. You use both hemispheres of your brain. You were just vibrating at the right frequency, and I
got to see if I can remote view myself into Gina Carano's bathroom while she's showering. I can't do it.
Oh no!
I'm not in REM.
Oh no! She dropped the sip.
Oh shit! Just ghost ejaculate everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the numbers behind sleeping are interesting too. So you only REM sleep for between 5 and 20 minutes each night, on average. And you'll have between 3 to 5 dreams each night. So you spend about 6 years of your life dreaming, which is pretty crazy when you think about it, because you spend a third of your life asleep, but only about 6 years worth of it.
Yeah, is dreaming.
So the rest of the time you're just a corpse, just doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, your mind is still moving. Your mind is still doing things.
Yeah.
But you're just unaware of it. I think they were talking about in that video that I sent you was saying that most of they believe, the people that were studying this, that believe that when you're dreaming, you are actually able to astral project, and that 60% of the time people are dreaming, they are actually astral projecting.
I could see it, honestly. I mean, how many dreams, or how often would you say you dream where you're at a different point of view? Where you're way up above or way down below, or...
I would say most of the time I dream I'm at a normal perspective, but there are dreams that I'm like watching myself do something, or like I see a place and then kind of see like an aerial view of what's going on. That's another one of the reoccurring dreams that I have is of this house that I always know it because it's the way that the house is shaped, and the house is like kind of like a rambler, and then has two kind of domes on the side of it that are tunnels for trains, and it's like a train station house, one of those old train station house that you see like in old Western movies, kind of thing. But there's like train tracks all around the house, and then like but this house is always scary. Like I know, fuck, this is gonna be a scary dream. Like, and so like I'm always like trying to, I'll go into a room and be like, oh, this is the room that I'm not supposed to go into, and then I'll like go somewhere else, and avoid the basement because the basement is scary in the dream. But a lot of times when I'm in that dream, I get an aerial view of the house because it's always like I'm in this place, I'm like, wait, this seems familiar, and all of a sudden I get this aerial view, I'm like, fuck.
Son of a bitch, not again.
Yeah. Which is really weird, and then like even though I recognize that I'm at this place again, I don't realize that I'm in a dream, so I can't do the whole controlling where the dream goes or whatever. So
when you're in one of those dreams, do you ever have the ability to go, oh, I'm dreaming and I don't want to dream about this, and wake yourself up? So I feel like I have complete control over that. Really? Where I'll realize I'm in some fucked up dream, and at first I'm really confused, and I'm like, what's happening? I don't understand. And then I go, fuck, I'm dreaming, just wake up. And I'm out of it instantly. There have been times where I'm dreaming and then I kind of realize that this isn't right, this is getting to the part where it might be turning into something scary, and then like go in a different direction in the dream. Interesting. It's almost like when you're falling into a bad trip and you go, I'm just tripping. Yeah. And then you like snap back to reality. Oh yeah, wait. Oh yeah. No, I'm good. That's not crazy. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm like fascinated by people's dreams, especially stuff like that where you kind of have this reoccurring dream, and as soon as you get the visual of where you're at, you're like, fuck, I already know what's coming. And it's not really anything that like I don't remember ever encountering whatever it is that I'm scared of in this place. It's just that feeling of something is evil, or something is like, for me, I have to describe it as it feels demonic inside my dream, and it's like I'm trying to stay away from this demonic thing, and so I'm going through this house trying to avoid this like demonic energy that's in the house that I don't want to interact with. Yeah. And to me, it seems like I probably should just go into the fucking room and confront it. But like in the dream, I'm just always trying to skirt the outside. Well, I kind of wonder within your case if that's directly linked to like your sleep paralysis episodes that you've had. If what you feel is down there is what you've dealt with in the past with sleep paralysis, and you just subconsciously go, I don't want to fuck with that again. Yeah, just keep breathing, dude. And that could be a part of it too, is like
I mean, I have sleep apnea. I'm actually going to do a sleep study tonight overnight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I have to get a new CPAP machine. And so I have to stop drinking by 1 o'clock.
That means you better get quite a few in before.
Yeah, so maybe it's just my body that's like about to die, and then I don't die because I just keep breathing.
Well, yeah, that's what sleep apnea is.
Yeah.
You just stop breathing and then you go, oh,
That's
shit.
the darkness I'm trying to avoid in my sleep. So I'll have to, yeah. Maybe that's something I'll have to do is like, because my machine will give me a readout of how many episodes I have per night, per hour, how many apneas, how many times I stop breathing. So before I got my CPAP machine, it was like 85 times an hour I would stop breathing. And so I'd wake up 85 times an hour and then go back to sleep, wake up, go back to sleep. So that's more than 1 time a minute. So I wasn't getting more than a minute sleep at a time.
Yeah.
Before I woke up and had to take a breath.
How were you, like, when you were in that, when it was really bad, were you still able to dream?
Sometimes.
It's like you got to hit that REM sleep in like 4 seconds flat.
Oh, dude, I would have. So I would even at that time I don't know if you remember, like when we first started working.
Oh yeah,
I would just fall, like crash out.
Yeah, I'd see you like sitting with your phone in your hand and you do this.
I would have dreams, dude. In that split second, I would have dreams, like full dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'd wake up and just be like, oh yeah, I'm at work. That was a dream.
I'll do that at work a lot. Like, there'll be like 10 minutes left on break, and I'm just like, I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute and go into a full-ass dream and wake up 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have dreams. Not ones that I would, totally remember, but like, I would have dreams. But when you're that sleep deprived, everything kind of seems like a dream. It's like that fucking Fight Club where like you don't know if he's awake or asleep. But I'd have to check to see if I have bad dreams, if I have more apneas that night than on a typical night. Maybe it's just my body fighting for oxygen.
Or maybe if you have bad dreams because you had less apneas because you were like deep REM sleep.
Deeper.
Yeah. Go deep, Spence.
I'm bottomed out.
You always say deeper, but you never hear me say tighter.
Yeah. Squeeze!
Bitch. Work on those kegels. See, that's why you gotta only date really crazy girls. Grippy socks, grippy box.
It's good logic.
No, it's not. They're evil. So, have you heard of this thing? What was it called? Where did I go? Epiphenomenon. The causal loop of mental versus physical state. So, if you have a negative physical state going into REM sleep, you'll have a negative dream. Or like when you have a really good dream and you wake up and you just feel great and refreshed and everything. I think that plays a huge factor. Just your stress level, your cortisol being way high, you're more prone to have like shitty nightmares.
Yeah.
Because I know for myself, I haven't had a nightmare in a long time now. It's probably been about a year. I mean, aside from fever dreams when I was sick or something like that, but even that in and of itself is proof that exists. Because when you have a bad fever and you're having crazy fever dreams, it's because you are physically stressed. Like your whole body is in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So your mind is just going to compensate the same shit. Versus, like I said, you have this great dream, whatever it was, and you wake up in the morning and you feel refreshed. And like the only thing that you could possibly be mad about is the fact that you're not still in that dream.
Yeah.
But you're still just like, everything's great. I'm going to have a great day. And then you go to work and you don't have a great day.
Yeah.
That's unrelated.
I definitely think that, that's another one of those things that just kind of leads to the notion that dreams are more powerful than we give them credit for, because how often do people have dreams where they say you have a dream about your partner cheating on you or whatever, and you wake up and you're fucking pissed at that person.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fucking, I can't believe you fucking whore. And then all day long you're stuck in that fucking stupid fucking bitch. Like,
even though they did nothing
even
wrong.
though they did anything, they like wake up and good morning and try to kiss you. You're like, don't fucking touch me with that dirty fucking mouth.
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
I want a divorce.
What there's such a connection with that, and it can't just be a fucking dream. There's something more. I mean, are you connecting to a version of a different reality where that actually did happen? And
See, I give that one a lot more credence than a lot of the other ones, because if you're connecting to yourself in another reality who's going through that situation that you dreamed about, then you're vibrating at that same frequency as that same person, which is why you feel that emotion so strongly. That's what makes sense to me.
In that sense, you should just you need to focus and get that vibration in your mind to connect with that version in the multiverse of yourself that is married to Gina Carano.
Fuck, I hadn't thought about that. I'm gonna write that shit down. Married to Prime Gina Carano,
Prime Gina.
like 32 years old.
Prime Gina.
Oh, I just switched places with him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you have kids? No. You do now, fucker. We're switching.
You got Prime Gina with Prime Dave, dude.
Unstoppable.
That's a whole series in itself.
I've already been president like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, we're just running the world.
Just finished your 4th term at 34 years old.
And everything, it's like America's like Dubai.
Yeah.
Just perfect. Everybody's
Except for
wealthy.
being a desert.
Yeah. We can skip that part. That shit's terrible. Yeah, no, I do think there is an energetic connection with that, you know, and like we recently talked about a lot of the consciousness stuff, and being able to connect your conscious stream with another version of you, I think is totally possible. I think our minds are too small to really grasp the concept of an alternate reality or a multiverse or some version of string theory, but that doesn't mean it's impossible.
Oh yeah, that also doesn't mean that like there's no possibility of being aware of the possibility
For sure.
for that being a reality. I mean, I think that keeping your mind open to that possibility is more beneficial than being like all bullshit.
Yeah. It's all bullshit. Fuck it. Forget it. Well, I think that's why we're only capable of snippets of things.
Yeah.
Like seeing UAPs or seeing a ghost or deja vu, dreaming, things like that. We only have like this much power in a huge spectrum, but it's because our minds just can't handle all of it. Not all at once. I mean, gradually you can expand your bandwidth, but you still can only do so much. Your mind is only so big.
Yeah.
But that's where just being able to entertain the idea adds to your bandwidth, or being able to listen to somebody else tell their kind of story that plays into the same factor is, again, expanding your bandwidth and being able to give you a little bit more information and a little bit more of that experience. Because I just hate people who are like, it's bullshit, not real.
Yeah.
Ghosts aren't real, UFOs aren't real, aliens aren't real. There was WMDs in Iraq. Anna Nicole married for love. It's all real.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. Is it expanding your bandwidth, or is it clearing up your existing bandwidth to be able to receive these other things that are actually still going on, where just everything's too cluttered to notice it?
Well,
So
yeah,
it's like
we have so much garbage in our
dropping
mind.
all those, we've talked about it before, dropping the filters and opening up your bandwidth for whatever comes into, comes across it, you can actually recognize.
Yeah, I mean, when you start clearing out the clutter of your mind, and that's part of what dreaming does, is like, I don't think I've ever had a dream where I was like, fuck, I gotta pay my phone bill, you know? All of that shit is gone, and none of it really matters.
Yeah.
So your day-to-day basic stuff of like, you're thinking about, okay, the FedEx guy's gonna come today, and then I gotta pick up my kid, and this for dinner, and blah, blah, blah. Like, when you cut out all that just recessive bullshit and you're only focused on what's actually in your mind and actually in your subconscious, not temporary fleeting things like that, like you can reach so much further into your mind. I mean, think about it like a room with garbage all over the floor. If you sweep it up, now you have room to walk around.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah. That kind of brings into play like the notion of dreams proving that we're in a simulation, because you don't ever dream about being on your phone, even though your phone is something that you use all day, every day.
That is true.
All the time.
I also wonder if it's a generational difference, because in several of those videos I watched, they talk about a lot of older people dream in black and white. But younger people dream in color, and because they were raised with black and white TV versus we were raised with color TV. So whereas like you and I in our adolescence all the way up to adulthood, we didn't have phones, cell phones. And when we did have them, they didn't do the things they do now. So maybe the younger generation, as they get older, they will be able to dream about phones.
I kind of wonder if old people dream in old-timey speech. Where you going, kid?
Well, back in my day, for a nickel, you got a shave and a ride around town and a slice of apple pie.
You better watch out for that werewolf over there.
That like sing-song way of talking. As war efforts continue on the Western Front.
No, that's true. Like even blind people, when they dream. So if you were born with sight and then you lost your vision, kind of like Baba Vanga. Mm-hmm. You know, she had vision up until she was 12 before she lost her eyesight. So people like that, when they dream in visual, because they know what colors look like, they know what people, you know, shapes and stuff look like. They'll often dream in like a movie, like, you know, most of us dream in. Mm-hmm. People who are born blind dream mostly in, like, if they were to dream about a person, they'll dream about their voice or the way that they, their cologne that they wear, or the way they smell, or the presence that they bring, their energy presence.
They just dream in Braille.
Yeah. So it's really interesting that, I mean, it does have something to do with your own perception of the world.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like everybody dreams in the same type of visual scenario.
Yeah, it's you kind of have to. I think when you dream, you're filtering it through your own lens.
Yeah.
It's kind of how when we think of like aliens, because we're so anthropomorphic, we think about them as being similar to us in terms of looks, like torso, arms, legs, head. So we kind of filter it through our own lens to make it make sense for our feeble little minds. So it stands to reason you do the same thing with your dreams. Like, I couldn't dream through your lens and you couldn't dream through mine.
Right. So this is a thought that just came through.
I saw the wheels turning and I was like, oh, he's going to drop some shit on me. Let's go.
So what if we're talking about consciousness as a singularity, right? So everybody can connect to the same singular consciousness. If this stream of consciousness is always flowing and I'm connecting into it and picking out the things that I'm focusing on, you know, my focus is on, like, you know, my family, job, stuff, and so that's what I'm pulling out of it and focusing my lenses on. When you're asleep, you aren't filtering all that shit out, and so you're just getting everything that's going by, and so that's why your dreams are just random, because it's just you're picking up the whole flow of, and you can tune into stuff like, say, you're seeing images of, like, your ex's house and shit like that, because that consciousness is already there. You're just picking stuff out of that because you have electrical connections with the people that are involved with that space.
Absolutely.
That was just a random thought.
No, I like that. I mean, the context of what was happening in that dream is really pretty irrelevant in terms of, like, does it matter? But being able to actually get, like, the accurate visual of the place could have definitely come from just, you know, picking that out of the ether of consciousness, or somehow vibrating at that same frequency with it at that moment.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. It's just mind-boggling.
It is.
It's one of those things I kind of want the answer to, but I kind of don't.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like it's a fun mystery. And I actually haven't thought about it in a long time, but I remember waking up after that going, what in the fuck? You know, and then those events passing and just going like, what is happening? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But it's cool.
It is super cool, and that's what I really appreciate about dreams is, like, most of the time it doesn't make sense, but it's oftentimes pretty cool.
It is cool, especially when you kind of have those moments in a lucid dream where you have just that singular moment of clarity where you go, I'm dreaming, but it's my dream. I'm in control and I can do whatever.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, I'm completely boundless in this dream. You know, I can literally do what Superman does in a dream. And that's so powerful to your own psyche, because you realize, like, you know, within this world, I may not have much power or control over anything, but there is a world that I do have power and control over. And when I'm in that world, even though I don't get that chance very often, take full control of it. Do whatever it is you want to do. And it kind of, in a way, does kind of uplift your awake spirit of, like, hey, one day I'm going to lucid dream again, and I'm going to be able to, you know, battle Zod or whatever. I can save the world. I can do all these really cool, crazy things that I couldn't do otherwise. And it doesn't feel any less real than if I did it while I was conscious.
Yeah, so that, I'll have to find the video and send it to you, but it was that video that I was watching was talking about how your subconscious is connecting to the multiverse versions of yourself. When you're in one of those dreams that you are in a good place, and, like, say that you, like, are in some dream that you won the lottery, or you're super successful, or whatever it is that you enjoy about that dream.
Mm-hmm.
When you wake up, you try to envision yourself as connecting with that, whatever it is, your business is successful, or you're changing careers, or you're getting promotion, or whatever. Connecting with that thought and kind of visualizing yourself do that. And when things are bad, you have to focus on what that goal is, and how that other version of yourself achieved that goal, and to push yourself past and to actually make the goals that you're looking to try to achieve, or whatever. Kind of woo-woo, but, like,
Not really.
it was all just more of a, like, charging your mental space to receive these positive affirmations from the multiverse.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, when people say something like, chase your dreams, or dream big, or whatever, they say it metaphorically. But if you are charging your life and your pursuits, and even in a way manifesting it through dreams, like, that's not woo-woo at all. That's just using one of the tools you already have.
Yeah.
It's just being able to maintain that same emotional state. You know, like when you wake up from that really good dream where you won the lottery and now you have everything you ever wanted and whatever, not just going like, oh man, that was such a good dream, too bad it's not real, instead of going, I'm going to make it real.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's kind of what it was saying, was, like, all of your actions and all of your energy output you have to kind of put through that lens of, is this adding or subtracting to that place that I want and that I'm trying to get to? Is that taking away from that, or is it putting it towards that?
Yeah.
And so, like, trying to stay in that positive momentum into that direction instead of like stopping and stalling and going in a different direction, or
Yeah.
energetically.
Well, I mean, kind of going back to the Jim Cameron thing of, having this nightmare about this robot with the knives for hands and shit coming out of the fire. I'm sure even in his case, he used that dream to keep propelling him through making that movie. Because that wasn't an easy movie to make. Studio didn't believe in it. He didn't have very much of a budget. He was working with Arnold, who was like an unknown. And
I don't really understand what the fuck he's saying.
Well, and shooting without permits, doing it illegally, like making this dream happen, even though it was a fucking nightmare to do. Like, how vindicated do you think he felt, taking this thing that was so terrible in that moment and creating something so great in scale?
Yeah.
But he had to use that nightmare as fuel to get there from point A of nightmare to point B of finishing that movie. And now look, it's a huge franchise and he's super well known.
Arnold's a major star.
Arnold's a major star. T2 is one of the greatest fucking movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, manifesting something out of a dream is not woo-woo at all. It's just, again, taking a tool that you already had and using it as a through line to get to the end.
I like that.
I do too. I feel philosophical now.
We should grow beards. Wait a minute.
Whoa! We manifested those really quick.
I already feel wiser, dude.
Dude, same. Especially the more gray I'm getting in, I'm like, yeah, I am the wise man.
Yeah, I just have this gray patch right down the middle for some reason.
Yeah, mine's all like in my jawline, but it hides. Except for, I got a beard trim the other day, but I had like a little patch of gray ones that were like wire brush.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his clippers stopped on him for a second. Like, fuck!
Yeah, I read somewhere that it has to do with like a pH balance. But if you don't know what it is, look it up.
Is that why mine isn't down the middle?
It's just all over the place.
You know what? In the past couple of years, my beard's gotten darker, so if that tells you anything. Anyways. I remember what it was. It was how men and women dream differently.
Oh, yeah.
So men tend to... Oh, huge miss. There's so many lights I couldn't see.
Yeah,
Depth perception.
blinding.
Men tend to dream of things like violence and destruction, cars, a lot of things that men tend to lean toward. Women tend to dream more emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Places that evoke emotion, about people that evoke emotion, which is interesting to me.
It is.
But that's where I prefer to be a guy. I'd rather dream about, being John Wick than, visiting the Taj Mahal or something.
That's because you are a guy.
Exactly.
I mean, if you were a woman and you were dreaming about like violence and stuff like that, you probably wouldn't enjoy dreams as much. I wouldn't think, just because women are more emotionally charged anyways, or I wouldn't say emotionally charged, but like are more attuned to their emotions.
Yeah, I mean, women by nature are more emotionally based, I'll say. I mean, you think about like sex. A woman typically has to have a more emotional attachment to a man to have sex with him, versus a dude, it's just like, oh, you're willing? Cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
No, yeah. Men are very visual and physical creatures, and women are a lot more emotional creatures.
Yeah.
By nature. That's probably due to the fact where, I mean, throughout history, the men would go out and try to hunt for food and have to be more physical and kind of fighting for dominance to be able to to breed with the woman.
Yeah.
As opposed to the woman who's more nurturing is going to take care of the baby while, stuff is going on. Not saying that women didn't go out and hunt also, but
But it was historically the man's role to do that.
Right.
It's just the way it is. And that actually kind of got me thinking about something kind of tertiary to that subject was I watch a lot of videos and stuff about psychedelics, obviously, because it's such a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
But I was watching these guys talk about, I've seen thousands of stories about, men taking mushrooms, and they talk about the first thing is their ego death. I never heard a woman talk about ego death ever. And it really got me curious, and it's like either I've not listened to enough stories of women talk about their psychedelic experience to have a volume of it, or just none of them have ever talked about ego death. And I kind of wonder if that is some kind of process between men and women's brains where between like the testosterone and kind of having to, suck down your emotions and just, rub some dirt on it kind of thing for so long, and already kind of being somewhat of an ego-based creature, because as men we are, that's how it is. So that when we get into that position, we have to go through this ego death to be able to attune to our emotions more and kind of get into a different stream of thinking. Versus a woman, a lot of them are overthinkers, and they feel all the time, and their feelings get hurt more often than men, to where they kind of have a small consistent ego death over a long period of time, so that when they get into a trip, they don't have to deal with it because they've already dealt with it for a long time.
Yeah, you don't really actually, and I haven't looked into it a lot, just like females talking about their psychedelic trips, and Diana Pasolka talks about hers on that Sean Ryan episode that I was watching, and I want to say they were talking about ego death, but I can't recall if it was Sean talking about it or if it was her talking about it. I have to go back and look at it.
I could see it being him, because he's talked about some of his psychedelic experiences and how it helped him deal with his PTSD, and so I could see him bringing it up.
Yeah, and she talks about how she did mushrooms one time, and it was a very spiritual thing for her, spiritual realization, and she was like 16 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't recall if it was her talking about the ego death or if it was him, like, kind of talking about his experiences. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just kind of a weird theory I've been bouncing around, because I try to have a very healed perspective on women, not, how guys tend to be hurt by women, and then it's like all women are bitches and they're all hoes and all that. I don't want to do that. That's not me and never has been. So there was a part of me that kind
of... That's fucking not very alpha of you, dude.
Not fuck. Listen here, bitch! Well, trying to understand more of a woman's perspective to have a healed perspective. And, like, instead of just buying into the nature of women have such big egos that they can't be broken, I'm trying to more understand the idea that maybe they're in more pain subtly for a longer amount of time, so they don't have to deal with it, versus men who stuff their shit down and don't process or deal with things. Now they're in a position after taking psilocybin where it's like, hey, guess what? All that shit you've been ignoring, we're going to deal with it all right now.
Yeah. Could be. Something to look into. Well, we should open up a clinic and do some psilocybin trials.
I know a guy who's going to school for that.
Yeah, we can just open up the clinic and keep it like the practitioner.
Yeah. Well, we could do the podcast part of it. Yeah.
We have to interview the person while they're on mushrooms, though.
No, did I ever tell you about that podcast thing? So, like, right after we started doing this, and I was like, Chewy, you should start your own podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tripolations.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he can sit there and talk to people about, everything that's in, psychedelics, but we could just do that part.
Yeah.
until it, like, they start getting awkward and crying, and then it'll be like, I gotta use the bathroom and come back when it's over.
Cut.
Come back in a week when you're not being a total bitch.
We'll see you next time when somebody gets their fucking emotions in order.
We'd be terrible at it.
Yeah. Because that's not very alpha, dude.
It's not alpha at all. Wes Watson would not approve.
Wes fucking neither would, I don't even know what his name is anymore. Fuck that guy.
Joey Stacks?
No. Fuck him too.
Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would never take psychedelics because my mind is perfect.
What a moron.
Fucking idiot. I know, it's a side note to that. I was watching this video the other day about fake alphas, because now that I no longer have to watch like the alpha male videos, the fake alpha videos pop up, and I'm like, okay, I gotta watch it, because it's always some dude watches a clip of these guys and then just talks mad shit.
Yeah.
And it's pure entertainment value, knowing that you're not watching it to give a click to one of those fucking dipshits.
Yeah.
But one of them was like, all these Tate fanboys, and it's like a dozen of these guys, and they're like, and I tell you what, I was sitting with Tristan Tate sipping on Johnny Walker in his study, and they all tell the exact same fucking story, and they say Johnny Walker like 12 times, and each time they talk about it, and it's like, do you guys go over there and rehearse this shit? Because it's verbatim, one dude to the next. If I ever see it again, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But it's like
giving off total beta energy.
It's huge beta energy.
Yeah.
Totally skibbity toilet, whatever. Fucking. Well, yeah, they've got to have some kind of camp where they teach these guys to recite these things.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem I
wonder if it's one of their like 8-week courses.
Could be the ones that they're paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they talk about it like, no, Tristan Tate's my homie. You don't get it. Like, no, I get it. He's paid him.
Totally my homie. I paid him $20,000. I video called him 3 times now in the past 7 years.
Well, there's one factor that just disproves he's actually their friend, is the fact that they're sipping Johnny Walker. Friends don't make friends drink Johnny Walker.
I don't know, a fucking asshole like Tate would probably make his friends drink Johnny Walker.
Like, look at these retards drinking Johnny Walker knowing it sucks. Tastes like Band-Aids with the scabs on it.
Tastes like fucking bloody Band-Aids.
Tastes like fucking vomit is what it tastes like.
Yeah. Since I mentioned that whole thing, so I've told a lot of people that I think that. So we were on a cruise, and my wife ordered a whiskey and Coke, and so they brought her.
Oh yeah.
Brought her the drink, and she tasted it, and she's like, "That's not whiskey or Crown and Coke. That's a Johnny Walker. I don't like that." I was like, "How do you know? Whiskey and Coke tastes like whiskey and Coke." And she's like, "No, Johnny Walker tastes like fucking Band-Aids." I was like, "What?" She's like, "No, Johnny Walker tastes like Band-Aids. Here, taste this." So I tasted it, and it was like, holy shit, I can't untaste that now. Like, Johnny Walker tastes like Band-Aids. So I've told that to a number of people, and fucking Stitch, since we've talked about Stitch, and Stitch has been on the podcast before, told me one day, he's like, "Yeah, I got this bottle of Johnny Walker." I was like, "Oh, the fucking Band-Aids." And he's like, "What?" So yeah, that shit tastes like Band-Aids. So now he's got this bottle of Johnny Walker that he hasn't opened, because he's afraid that it's going to taste like Band-Aids.
Which label was it?
I think it was red.
No. So...
The one that we had, or the one that he has?
The one that he had.
Oh, I don't know.
So, the first time I ever tried Scotch was Johnny Walker Red Label. And I took a drink of it, and I went, wow, this tastes exactly like the flavor in your mouth right after you've thrown up. Like, if you drank whiskey, bottom shelf whiskey, and then thrown up, this is exactly what that tastes like. And so I could never get it out of my mind. And I was hanging out with Chewy at his house one day, and he's like, "Hey, I got this this Japanese whiskey or Scotch or whatever it was. I think it was Japanese whiskey." He's like, "Do you want to try it?" I was like, "Sure." You know, I'm not one to turn down free alcohol.
Yeah.
So we each take a shot of it, and I could see it on his face right away. He's like, because it wasn't subtle. But I took a sip of it, and it slightly had that vomit taste, but the rest was like Band-Aid. So if you ate a bunch of Band-Aids and puked them up, that's what that tasted like. And then he's all apologized. Dude, I didn't know it was that way. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
The only Japanese whiskey I've tasted was one of my brother's friends went to Japan and brought him back a bottle of whiskey. And it was, first off, it was clear, which was weird.
Yeah.
And the second thing was the bottle was shaped like one of those Japanese temples type things. So I was like,
curved roof.
This is definitely like a novelty type things. It's not a fucking like super nice whiskey. And I think at the time I was like 21 or 22, so I didn't really give a fuck. I still don't give a fuck about most whiskeys, but like, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get fucking drunk off of this shit. And I took one shot off of it, and it was straight fucking acetone, dude. Tasted like nail polish remover.
Gross.
Yeah.
Definitely novelty stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
God damn, this... pour me another.
I'm going to have to fucking lick a shit stain to get that taste out of my mouth.
Yeah, the cooler a bottle it comes in, or if the bottle comes with something extra, the worse it is.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried tin cup whiskey?
No.
Comes with a little tin shot glass over the top. Hot garbage. Cool looking bottle, cool shot glass. Just go ahead and dump it out and pour a different whiskey in there. You'll be better.
That fucking bamboo rum that we had the other day was pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
And it has kind of like a pirate themed bottle, but it was good.
That is good
super
stuff.
Off topic. I would dream about a better whiskey than fucking Japanese whiskey that I had.
Yeah.
That would be my dream.
What about dreaming while drinking whiskey? Or dreaming because you passed out from drinking whiskey?
I have a lot of dreams that I dream about, like drinking. And,
well, what about your drunk dreams, I'll say? Like when you've been drinking and you go to sleep?
I can't remember any, that I recall of being, from being drunk. More of it's just like if I get super drunk, then I like wake up and I'm just like, fuck, I passed out in the sand. Shit, that sucks.
Fuck, I'm still in the backyard and the sprinklers are going off. Yeah, I think most of the time if I drink too much when I go to bed and I'm dreaming, it's just like it's all gobbledygook. Nothing makes any sense. Like, because obviously your brain is not firing on its synapses properly because you're inebriated.
Yeah.
So it's just weird, nonsensical shit.
Yeah, I don't remember any drunk dreams.
It's probably because they're weird and nonsensical.
Probably.
It's like walking through fog. It's weird. Do you ever have this? You ever try to shoot somebody in your dream? Or fire a gun?
I don't know. The most I ever get is like fighting people or running, but I don't think I've ever fired a gun in a dream.
So it happens to me a lot, where I'm trying to shoot, not just like shoot a person, but sometimes like dreaming about being at the range and trying to shoot. And I don't know what it is, where every time in a dream I'm trying to shoot a gun and the trigger is just like takes all of my energy to pull it. And I remember in some dreams I'm like gripping it with these two fingers on both hands trying to pull it, and it just doesn't go. And then when it finally does go, I pulled so hard I threw off my aim, and now I just shot into the air or something like that.
I wonder what that is.
I don't know. I think it's akin to like when you are fighting somebody in your dream and you're punching them in the face as hard as you can, and they're just like no power.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm stuck in mud, like throw a punch.
Well, I don't know. I've had dreams where I'm like drilling somebody in the fucking face as hard as I can, and he just acts like I'm going. It just no effect.
Yeah, there's certain dreams that a lot of people have, like the waking up and you're at school and you don't have pants on, or like your teeth are falling out.
Yeah.
Or dreaming about fish, or being in like a body of water with fish. And that goes back to the dream dictionaries, where there's so many people that have these similar themed dreams that it's kind of like they attribute those dreams to mean certain things.
Well, I think some of the basic ones, like falling, I think those have an actual subconscious like meaning that is a little bit more blanket of like if you're falling, you're afraid of something, or your teeth falling out is maybe because you're having an issue with some part of your physicality or something like that, because you kind of equate losing teeth to being like the ugliest thing in a way.
You're self-conscious.
Yeah, so you're being self-conscious about something with your physical representation. So I could see some of those being fairly easy to spread across the wide part of the population.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that like dreaming of bodies of water is like emotions, and is like water flows, and so do emotions. So it's kind of like the subconscious representation of emotions is flowing water, but I don't know.
I can see
that's
that.
just what I've read on the internet, so it's got to be fucking true.
Has to be fucking true.
Rick Doty told me.
Fucking Rick Doty.
So yeah, I mean, all in all, I think that dreams are a lot bigger part of our actual consciousness than we give it credit for.
I agree. I think it's a very undervalued part of our psyche. And it's something that, no matter if you believe dreams really mean anything, or if they have outward effect or value on the future or on whatever, it's still something you should pay attention to and give a little bit of credence to. Even if you're closed-minded about everything else, dreams are the one thing that you know 100% are real, because they happen to you every night.
Yeah.
Just listen to them. Pay attention to them.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree.
I agree too. I'm glad we talked about this. This one's kind of...
So am I. We can go on focusing our dreams and our attentions to, get to the places we're trying to get to.
Yeah. Dream big.
Yeah, I haven't eaten Doritos since the last time we talked. And I haven't dreamt about them either.
Dude,
so
you're on the healing path. Just downloads. I can just feel it right now. The numbers are just climbing right now.
Hashtag Doritos. Hashtag dreams.
It's funny that, we talk about stuff like this, and consciousness and telepathy and energies and energetic links and all that. And I'm starting to feel like we're kind of, I don't want to say prophets, but maybe like proprietors of wisdom at this point.
We really are. And it's, I don't know, it's just like talking to people, and then I'll start talking about stuff like this, and then it just seems like they're just like, what the fuck? Like, am I being one of those, am I gonna start fucking carrying around crystals and shit, like putting a crystal in my head? Like, I don't think so, but I like the idea of these, of exploring these different, side subculture type aspects of our reality that nobody really looks into. And it seems like a lot of them are becoming more mainstream, just because it's like, how come this isn't being looked at? And so people are actually starting to look at it and be like, oh shit, there is something here.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff we talked about, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I'd have been like, whatever, fuck off. But since I've adopted the mentality that it's either all bullshit or none of it is, and then you delve into these topics and you go, there's more to it than them being bullshit. So it's kind of like I'm leaning towards none of it is at this point.
Yeah.
Because when you just actually open your mind to the possibility of at least try to understand it from whatever level you can, you'll see that there's more to it than what you think.
Yeah. The moral of the story is clean out your bandwidth and accept the energies that are coming to you the way that they're coming to you, and whether you understand them now or if it's something that you grab and hold on to and understand as you move forward, that's just up to you.
Yep. Open your bandwidth.
Open your bandwidth.
That's it. Let's kill it there.
Dave-Inci's Code signing off.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.